I'd say it was miserable. Like me and him, we went for a drive just to get some air conditioning in the car.
A month has passed and no air conditioning for a single dad and his 11-month-old.
I laid him down and yeah, he just was crying. His face was like beet red.
And with near record-breaking heat in store for tomorrow, his father worries when help might finally come.
They haven't got anyone out here to actually fix this issue.
The heat returns to the Front Range and the Eastern Plains with a heat advisory that's been issued for tomorrow for highs around 100 degrees. I'll let you know if that'll last all weekend.
Colorado is gaining a reputation no one wants.
Colorado leads the country in per capita motor vehicle theft.
Now, local city leaders are ready to send a message to those looking to steal cars.
I want to send a very clear signal to car thieves that Aurora is not the city to steal cars.
And we begin tonight with breaking news in Denver. A Denver police officer has been involved in a serious crash near West Hampton and South Kendall Street. Police say an officer, a suspect, and another driver were brought to the hospital for injuries. No word on the condition of that officer.
We have a Denver 7 weather action day in effect. Temperatures flirting with 100 degrees over the next 24 hours.
We also had strong storms tonight and hail that pounded the Fort Lupton area. Denver 7 viewer Shelby Williams sent us this video. Some people out there were reporting quarter-size hail.
All right, thanks for staying with us for this late edition of Denver 7 News at 10. I'm Shannon Ogden.
Good evening, I'm Ann Trujillo. We got a break from temperatures in the 90s earlier this week, but yeah, they're coming back with the vengeance to end the week.
All right, let's begin with meteorologist Stacy Donaldson. Stace?
Well, I wanted to show you the radar right off the bat because it's been quite a light show here up into Weld County and Larimer County with thunderstorms that have developed in the last hour or so. Thank goodness we don't have any more severe thunderstorm warnings, but we do have a flash flood warning off to our west for the Cameron Peak burn area. Now, we still have a lot of lightning with the storm moving toward New Raymer and farther to the north toward the West Plains as well. And then right along the I-25 corridor, a lot of lightning here up toward Windsor and back toward Loveland and Berthoud, seeing some heavy rainfall. Flash flood warning, as I mentioned, until 1:45 a.m. Some heavy rainfall for that Cameron Peak burn area. Temperatures tomorrow will be in the upper 90s and low 100s, which is why we have a heat advisory in effect tomorrow. 100 is our record set back in 2021, and that heat advisory in effect for Denver all the way across the Eastern Plains. We'll talk more about whether or not this will stick around all weekend coming up.
All right, Stacy, thank you. And so with these hot temperatures settling in, we know many of you will have your air conditioning running overtime tomorrow.
But not everybody has that luxury. A single father in Thornton and his 11-month-old boy have been without air conditioning for the past month.
And he says his property management hasn't done anything to get it fixed. Here is Denver 7's Colette Bordelon.
Listen closely in Blake Skelton's apartment, and you'll hear the fans, all of the fans.
And it wasn't too bad really until this past weekend when we got that heat wave.
Despite the fans and blacked out windows,
100 degrees outside, it was 90 degrees in here.
there was no stopping that heat without a working AC.
It's 86 now. I'd say it was miserable. Like me and him, we went for a drive just to get some air conditioning in the car. He couldn't even take a nap because it was so hot.
Skelton says his AC hasn't been working since April and that he's submitted several maintenance requests to Meadows at Town Center in Thornton.
They had someone come yesterday. I wasn't home, I was at work. And all they did was change the air filter, and that didn't help at all.
We tried calling the apartments to see what they had to say,
Got in touch directly with them.
and eventually we were transferred,
Your call has been forwarded.
but haven't heard back yet.
The warranty of habitability actually doesn't cover AC here in Colorado.
Associate Attorney William O'Donnell explained the warranty of habitability for us today, which has a list of the health and safety issues covered under the law for renters.
If the current climate continues to heat up, the warranty of habitability may be addressed.
He says there's always the chance laws could be changed, but says the best thing renters can do is keep track of all their correspondence with the landlord. I looked through Skelton's lease and didn't see AC specifically mentioned.
Yeah, it's just not good for a child to be in that kind of heat inside an apartment.
But at the end of the day, all he really wants is a home that stays cool during the summer. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
And according to a recent summary by NOAA, since the start of the 20th century, Colorado's average temperatures have increased by 2.5 degrees. and utility companies are taking note, trying to ensure that power grids will be able to handle an increase in air conditioning use. And tomorrow, Colorado's Public Utilities Commission is scheduled to explore utility readiness to meet demand for electricity this summer and next.
An Aurora city leader wants harsher punishment for car thieves. He says it's time to do something about the city's growing car theft problem. Tonight, investigative reporter Jenna has the call for action local Democratic sheriffs are also supporting, even though it will mean putting more people in their jails.
They hammered through the slack right here with something.
There's no question about it.
Motor vehicle theft is affecting everyone.
Car thefts are a major problem in Colorado.
Colorado leads the country per capita motor vehicle theft.
Aurora City Councilman Dustin Zvonek wants to change that.
I want to send a very clear signal to car thieves that Aurora is not the city to steal cars.
Zvonek introduced an ordinance to create mandatory jail time for stealing a car, with a 60-day minimum sentence for first-time offenders. Repeat car thieves get more time, and those who fail to show up to court also go to jail.
My goal is to make Aurora the most punitive city when it comes to car theft, and that I won't negotiate away.
He says after state lawmakers decriminalized crimes like motor vehicle theft, local leaders were forced to get involved.
We have to do something. Our residents are demanding us to do things to make our community safe.
But not everyone agrees with his tough-on-crime approach. Councilman Juan Marcano questions the effectiveness of mandatory minimums.
They end up spending a tremendous amount of public resources to incarcerate and prosecute these folks, and you still have crime.
I understand that there's going to be a cost to the city. We're going to have more cases. We're going to be putting more people in jail. But we have to not forget the cost to the victims.
Convicted car thieves would be charged at the city level and would do their time at county jails.
I do support it because we have to do something to try to curb this.
Arapahoe County Sheriff Tyler Brown says the county has the space in their jail, and it's about more than cracking down on auto theft.
It's the crime that occurs even after the motor vehicle theft.
Why are you supporting it, even though it will mean more people in your jail?
Well, because I think we do have to hold people accountable. This is something that's impacting our community.
Car victims like Kara Shirley want police and the courts to take these crimes seriously.
People just don't realize how financially devastating this is, how much post-traumatic stress disorder you have over it. And I really think that something has to change.
Councilman Zvonek says the Adams County Sheriff also supports the ordinance. Aurora's new interim police chief is also on board. The ordinance will go before the full council at the end of the month. We're told August is the earliest it could take effect. I'm Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski.
A Nebraska man has pleaded guilty to federal charges for making physical threats to Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold over Instagram last summer. According to federal court documents, 42-year-old Travis Ford of Lincoln, Nebraska posted comments to Griswold's public page, telling Griswold she shouldn't feel safe. 10 days later, he commented saying Griswold's security detail is thin and incompetent to protect her. Now he's looking at up to 2 years in prison, a fine of $250,000, and supervised release when he is sentenced.
The House Select Committee investigating the deadly Capitol insurrection on January 6th met for a third televised hearing today. So let's get you caught up on some of the big things that happened today. The main focus of today was former President Trump's efforts to stop Vice President Mike Pence from certifying the Electoral College votes. The committee says law professor John Eastman, who once worked at CU Boulder, helped urge President Trump to pressure Pence. The committee says Eastman knew the legality and political viability of the plan was questionable, and following the riot had asked for a pardon for himself. Now, the committee also made it very clear that Pence never believed he had the power to decide the election. The committee chairman told reporters today he wants to invite Ginny Thomas to speak with the panel soon. She is the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, and previously released documents show she spoke with state legislators and Trump's former chief of staff to try and overturn the 2020 election.
Well, we hope you've recovered from last night's thrilling overtime victory by the Avalanche.
That was too much, and I've got to say, being out near Ball Arena last night, it was incredible. In Colorado, you were all in, cheering on our Avs onto a Stanley Cup victory.
It was so fun. 5,600 people passed through the gates of the official Avs watch party last night at Tivoli Quad in the Aurora campus. And this weekend, organizers expect that number to double to more than 10,000.
Organizers say the biggest issue they saw last night, people not using the single entrance to get inside. That's at the southwest corner of Tivoli Quad near the historic Tivoli building. So ahead of Saturday's Game 2, organizers are beefing up staff for the food and beer areas.
We want to ensure that the fan experience is the best it can be, and so we are entirely focused on serving their needs. We will have water, soda, beer. There were a few lines. We're actually going to double our team that's going to support our fans on Saturday.
And local DJ Grizz will also take the stage at 3 o'clock Saturday ahead of the watch party for a pregame concert.
Ball Arena announced it will host watch parties for games 3 and 4, those games being held in Tampa. Tickets, $20 for those games.
So let's get you prepared for Game 2 on Saturday. And remember, Denver 7 is your home for all things Avs throughout the Stanley Cup Finals.
On Saturday, we'll have pregame coverage starting 5:30 ahead of ABC's coverage at 6 p.m. And our post-game show will begin right after the game.
Chushkin with Burakovsky. He scores! Andre with a giant goal!
And that is the moment we're still not over. So what will it take to put the Bolts in a 2-0 hole? We break it down in sports.
The land where the old Hughes Stadium at CSU once stood has a storied history.
There used to be teepees that were set up in villages, and I'm waiting to see the warriors that would come out.
Those whose ancestors once called it home are making sure it's not forgotten.
We're still here, and we still are thriving, even though not a lot of people see us.